Hello. So I have with me today Jordi Piera, who is the Director of Digital Health Strategy in the Catalan, uh, almost all of Catalan. Yeah.
Yeah, Catalan Health Service, which is the NHS.
Yes. So, Jordi, you have been one of the major proponents of using open platforms and adopting mainly open-air type systems in the government, right? So, how did you get here?
I mean, I have to say that Catalonia has, and also Spain, a long tradition in digital health technologies. I would say that we are one of the first pioneers in the adoption of such technologies in Europe. You must think that we have a shared electronic health record built in Catalonia from year 2007, and more or less all the Spanish regions at the same time. And then we have a national one also built in year 2011. So we have an ecosystem which is very mature. We have been able to learn a lot over the years. And we are very happy with the deployment. We know that our neighbor countries do not have such a deployment. So when you look in Germany, when you look in France, which is countries that you would believe that they must have this, well, they don't. But also linked to this deployment comes, I would say, a lot of effort and also some limitations. And the limitations are the ones that you have with the current interoperability as is designed. I mean, it's interoperability which is based in messaging, in which the original systems, as you very well know, transform from whatever they are using into this messaging system. And in each of these transformations, there's loss of information also in order to maintain the level of understanding in between the different systems. Well, you need to lower the level of conversation in between these two different systems. So at the end is an agreement in which you adapt to the dumbest of the systems. And I think it's a matter of maturity. So I would say that we have taken the most of this message-based interoperability, and we know that something else is possible. In fact, Spain is one of the pioneers into the dual information architecture models adoption, and our shared health record for Spain was defined using the ISO 13606, even though then the implementation was done using HLSM version 2. This has been in there for many years. So after all these years, we have realized that something else is possible. And then, in Catalonia and also now in Spain, we are pushing for this change to happen because we believe that this will be better for everyone.
Yeah. So, I mean, there might be a few policymakers listening to this talk. And what are the pressures that really pushed against you when you tried to make this change? And, you have this current status quo of different systems. What's your strategy and how have you navigated this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pressures, so answering to your first question, so the pressures, it's the pressure of legacy systems, an industry which is linked to these legacy systems. They don't want to change the status quo, obviously, and the change that we are proposing, as you know, is big. So that's I would say the first one. The second one is the short-term politicians have. So when you try to explain this to the politicians that we have, they don't understand this. It's too technical. It's very complicated. What they understand is that now they have systems that are providing services to the population, and they think that they may be fine. So why do you want to change them? And you need to explain them. You need to really lower the level of conversation again, but with the politicians, and tell them, listen, I mean, you now want shiny things to be running in these bumpy roads, and it's not possible. We need to build new roads for your electric cars to be able to run through them. So I would say two things: resistance of industry, how to change the legacy. And then when it comes to politicians, well, the level of understanding of the proposed approach. And then I think that well, all in all, it comes into implementation and being able to have a convincing dialogue on how to, well, which will be the benefits of doing this. So, for example, with politicians, we have told them, listen, guys, you have the current status quo doesn't allow us to scale up innovation, for example.
Yeah.
Innovation, we have a lot of innovation that stays in local experiences, but we are not able to scale up for the benefit of all of our ecosystem. So how do we manage to do such a thing? And then, well, it's where it comes the idea of the open platform, the use of open standards, opening our ecosystem, putting the data in the middle, and then allowing everyone to build solutions around this. This is possibly, the way to approach this.
I think you must have had this difficult conversation multiple times, right? Like, how do you explain to a layman, or not even a layman, a politician who understands the needs of healthcare, but then they don't quite understand what this digital platform is or what this new approach is, right? Like, how do you tell them what is different from just taking a system and using it versus this new approach?
Well, with them, I think we have approached this in three different ways. One way is the benefit for the citizens, the benefit for the individuals themselves. That at the end, it's our main goal. So to deliver quality healthcare services to our population. In regards of this, we tell them, listen, with the systems that we currently have, what we will end up achieving is patchy patient journeys across the healthcare system, because as we have all these different systems communicating with patchy interoperability, with this messaging interoperability that we said it's not enough, we have a system that is eminently built on referrals. So what we do is shift the responsibility from one clinician / healthcare level to the next one. And in each of these transitions, there's a chance of the patient to be lost in transitions, not in translation. So that's one thing. So first thing, it's patient and the non-ability to build true patient-centric care pathways or to deliver true patient or population health centric pathways. That's one thing. The second thing that we tell them is also the benefits for the clinicians. So we first go patients, then we go clinicians, and we tell them, listen, clinicians right now do not have the best information to pick the right clinical decisions. Right now, this information needs to flow from many different systems. What we get sometimes, or most of the times, is PDF, is summaries of the information. And at the end, the idea is that, well, every other healthcare professional has the right information at the right time to provide the best care as possible. And this is, with all these different systems and all these different silos of information, this is very difficult for us for this to happen. That's second level. Third level, it's you need to talk with them about money, and you tell them, listen, guys, money-wise, we are spending a lot of money into systems that are becoming obsolete, that silo this information and the business logic in all these different repositories. Integrations are very costly, and each time that you add one of these systems is very costly. And at the same time, what I was mentioning before, we are not able to scale up innovation. So innovation stays in local settings, but when I try to move this algorithm solution, which has been trained or integrated with a specific system, when I want to make it run in another system, this is not possible. So we end up having a system which is not very resilient to change. And when you face a pandemic, when you face, well, things as the ones we faced in COVID, they really notice about the difficulties of, well, shifting all the healthcare ecosystem towards one direction. So patients, professionals, economics, innovation.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you brought up about the referral system that you have and the need for common innovation to be shared across institutes. So again, what's the infrastructure like right now? I think we are sitting in the UK. Here they have different NHS trusts. So in the Catalan system, what are we looking at in terms of the healthcare setting?
In terms of a healthcare setting, it's also a lot of fragmentation. So as a difference to the other Spanish regions, Catalonia, and this is because due to its evolution over the years. I mean, Catalonia was and is a very wealthy region, and you know that with wealth comes the development of healthcare services. So historically, Catalonia has had many different healthcare organizations. We are talking about organizations that date back from 1700 that are still working in Catalonia. It's religious orders, employer unions, things like this that with years have been establishing healthcare organizations. And these healthcare organizations have a lot of history, and historically they have had the power to decide on their information technologies. And this has caused, in terms of wealth, very fast digitalization. I would say a healthy competition in between them to see who is the one that does the digitalization process first, but also at the same time and without noticing, causing all this fragmentation that I was mentioning before. So we have one system in primary care, and we are lucky, and this is a big difference in Spain and also in Catalonia. It's a big difference with all the rest of Europe, and I would say of almost all the rest of the world. We have primary care inside of the healthcare system. So GPs are not liberal professionals working from home, having a private practice. They are in primary care centers, and they are fully dependent of the public sector, and they are ruled and act as the gatekeepers to the most specialized resources. And this is a very big advantage for us. So we have one system for primary care that we developed on our own and that we rule, which is getting old. I mean, we started developing it in year 1985, and we've been patching it for all these years. It's 40 years of patching. But then in the hospital care setting is where we have the problems. We have 29 different EMR products. Some of them vendor products, commercial, like European things, Dedalus, SAP, and then a lot of development. So there's a lot of tradition of developing our own EMRs. So very fragmented ecosystem that we have had to integrate in order to build this longitudinal health record in something that we named the Shared Electronic Health Record of Catalonia that we built in year 2007. So we have a shared electronic health record, we have a patient portal, we have, since year 2002, a unique electronic prescription system. We have now, or are moving towards the idea of what we name federated platforms. And with this, I mean a central PAC system, a central genomics platform in which we have nodes across our ecosystem, but the central one, we hold it from the national NHS. And all of them integrate with this one, so we are able to take advantage of economies of scale. And lately, we are building on the idea of the open platform in healthcare. So for us, the next step is the idea of the open platform in healthcare. So moving from all these legacy systems towards this idea of federated platforms wherever we can, and then moving towards the idea of the open platform, which is, well.
So do all the GPs kind of use the same system?
Yes, all of them.
Okay.
All of them use the same system, which is very good for us because we can do a lot of prevention policy, and also, as I was mentioning, they are the gatekeepers to the most specialized resources, which is of great help for us.
Yeah, and just architecture-wise, right? Like, do you have each GP system deployed on a particular region and they have a separate data store, or is it all one single care record?
It's a single care record. It's as we deployed it so many years ago, communications were not good enough. And as communications were not good enough, we had to deploy regional databases of the same system. So the system is the same, but it's split among 22 different databases. And we have problems with these databases, as you can imagine, because for citizens that change wherever they live within the country, well, we have them in multiple databases. So there is no integrity, referential integrity in between all these different databases. So every time that we have tried to fuse them into a single one, it hasn't been possible. I always say that every time we try this, we are almost causing a black hole to appear due to all the drama of this, well, non-proper reference in between them. But still, I mean, we solve this by software, and it's in fact a unique system. So the view that you get, it's from a unique system. The only thing is that, well, same as it happens with all legacy systems, in the shadows or in the underneath or the foundational technology which is underneath, it's just crap. It is what it is. It's old.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been moving to the whole openEHR based platform now, right? And you have successfully at least started the journey, and you have at least the central CDR has been set up, and I think it's IBM, Vita Group, MedBlocks, and we have been working on this. What has been the progress so far, and what is to come?
Well, what I think first thing is that we have been able to convince everyone that this is something that we need, and we have used all these approaches that I was mentioning before to convince our politicians that this is something that they need. And we have been able to put in place an implementation roadmap in which, well, they get shiny things and quick wins, which is what they want. And in the meantime, in the shadows or in the underneath, we are able to change the foundations of our healthcare system on the idea of using open standards and the open platform. The first thing that we did was procuring the CDR, as you very well mentioned, and we are in the process of migrating all the shared electronic health record of Catalonia, which for us it's a critical infrastructure because it's quite central to our continuity of care. We are finalizing the migration of this into the CDR. We are starting to build at the same time, and once the migration is finalized, we will move all the interfaces to push and pull information from there. We are building them on top of the CDR and check on how this will scale up because it's heavy transaction load. Second thing that we are doing is every other new transactional system that we are building is CDR native. So, for example, we develop a patient-reported outcome solution. It's native from there. We have built a new system for immunizations or for allergies. It's CDR native. And we build them in a way that we provide interface for those who want to integrate iframes whatsoever in their systems, in our ecosystem, or they can consume the APIs that we build underneath, so they don't need to use the interface, but they still can consume the services. And all of these things that we are doing, they are CDR native. Now,
these are the quick wins.
These are the quick wins that we need to deliver in between continuously. Now we are working in a shared care plan similar to the universal care plan of One London. We already had something like this, but now we wanted to make it more interactive, also linked to the shared electronic health record of Catalonia. It comes associated to some markers for chronicity and complex chronic patients that we have, So we are also working in this as another quick win. And then, and this goes on. And now we have various projects that aim to, well, test the capabilities of the CDR to truly become a transactional system and not, I would say, a passive repository that just pulls and throws information. The next step for us is seeing whether we are able to make the vision of the open platform a reality. And for me, making the vision of the open platform a reality, it's truly being able, not only us being able to develop on top of the CDR, but opening it up to the world. and basically building the APIs, the documentation, the services around it for us to support our ecosystem, willing to build solutions around this. And these solutions can be solutions that we propose, and this will come through tenders, and well, people will need to abide to whatever we propose in the tender, and if they don't like it, then, well, they can play. Or solutions that, well, from all of our ecosystem of spin-offs, startups, industry, for them to build directly solutions on top of that, which I truly think it's where the value will be, and this scalability of innovation will be found.
Yeah, I think it's the first time that it's happening at this scale, probably in the world, that an open air based system is being built, and different apps are being built by the Catalan system specifically for your needs. But do you also see, again, this innovation spreading worldwide, or other innovations coming in and you being directly able to use these? Has that happened in any way already?
I mean, I don't know anywhere that this has happened. So, there are marketplace. I mean, because at the end, what we want to enable is, well, this healthy competition of a marketplace, which, I mean, when you explain this to governments who are more left-wingers, you talk with them about the scalability of innovation. When you talk with liberals or neoliberals, you tell them, well, we will generate competitiveness around this idea, and we will generate value around health data. At the end, the idea of the European health data space, it also comes associated with the monetization of this health data, and to add value to this health data for the benefit of patients. So this is nothing liberal, what I'm saying. I mean, this is what it is. I believe that, as I was saying, the Americans and Epic and Cerner, they have tried to build their own marketplace around their systems. And with this idea then to someone that develops a solution in Cerner, then you will be able to plug it in another Cerner solution using their specifications. Epic, I believe they have done the same. They are slower, they are more close. Well, at the end, what we want to do is the same, but, well, we believe that as we are using open standards, open specifications, and we will have eventually more instances of open-air CDRs all across Europe and the world, well, the solutions that will be able to be plugged in there, well, will be able to be plugged somewhere else, but with people not really having to purchase a very expensive system such as these American monoliths are. And that's well our hope. I haven't seen this happen. There are examples on normalized data repositories in OMOP. So you see that, well, because of all the problems that we have with data not being standard enough, health data not being standard enough, well, you know that OMOP has appeared and it's very widely used in research. Well, we start to see plug and play solutions that have been trained, especially algorithms, that have been trained on claims databases, on that have been normalized to OMOP. And in there, it's where we see plug and play capabilities. But when it comes to pure transactional systems adding value for the primary use, so to deliver direct healthcare services, I believe that other than in these American proprietary markets, this has never happened before.
Yeah, I think it's been a great interview, and do you think it's something to do with the fact that the health systems, the workflows of different health systems, and how care is delivered is so different that these apps, even if the data platform supports it, people don't want to use something that's not invented in their own place.
I think that I mean, Western medicine. I mean, you are a medical doctor. I'm no medical doctor. I'm faking it. I'm an imposter in this sector. I've been working with you since always, since I was 18 years old, in fact. And everyone talks about variability in medical practice, and we have this saying in Catalonia that you put 3 medical doctors in the same room to discuss the same topic, and they will come with 7 different opinions about the topic. That's not my experience. Every time that we have tried to reach consensus, we have succeeded in reaching this consensus. At the end, well, everyone needs to lose something, gain something, and at the end you find a common ground. There's obviously variability across geographies, across regions. There's not the same resources, healthcare resources available. Sometimes you lack from psychologists. Sometimes you have a primary care which is not as strong as the one that you have in your country. I mean, all this variability is there, but at the end, Western medicine or the medicine of developed countries doesn't differ that much. And I truly believe that this type of solutions, well, can be a great accelerator for things to happen instead of every time be reinventing the wheel. I mean, if you put in place, to me, a marketplace in which I can pick solutions from the shelf for COPD control, health failure control, why should I invest in this when a team of smart people somewhere else have invested their time? And then, well, we will check whether these things are evidence-based, whether they have the backup publications. Let's see the level of evidence of the benefits of using these are. And then, well, we will decide. But in this idea of the open marketplace, well, you may even, some of them may decide to open source them. And they put it in the marketplace, they open source them, and then, well, we can do the modifications that we need in order for this thing to be fully adapted into our ecosystem. That's another possibility. There's the possibility of the monetization. We effectively enable, through this idea of the marketplace, that all these startups, all these different vendors that are developing solutions in here have a pathway towards being reimbursed, which is not a reality everywhere. I mean, here in the NHS, in the UK, there's not a clear pathway towards the reimbursement of these apps or solutions that are developed. We don't have it either in Spain. The Germans have something named the DIGA, which is a regulation. It was pioneering regulation in order to systematically introduce these solutions into the healthcare sector. Well, I think that this can be a catalyzer in order to manage all these innovations to go through. And, you know, gazillions of dollars and euros are invested in startups in digital health. How many disappear after 2 years? Almost all of them. And nothing stays because there's not a clear revenue pathway for them. Well, maybe these things can enable. So being open, I think that it's something that can enable this to happen.
Of course, and I completely agree that the open foundation or the open platform is that highway or the road. But again, I also think that medical practice as a whole also needs to start converging on common ground and common processes before you can use an app.
Yeah, I mean, there is this thing, you know, and I don't want to oversimplify the complexity of medicine. I mean, medicine is a science, is a science that is a very lively science. There's continuous advancements in medicine, and thanks to everyone who is putting effort into this. But when I compare ourselves to other industries, they have managed to agree on the major concepts of their industry. I don't want to say business concepts because I don't like to talk about, I'm a civil servant, I work in the public sector, and I don't like to talk about business concepts in healthcare. So our industry concepts, so banking, their industry concepts are very clear.
Yep.
Now we can go with our credit card and get money everywhere in the world. We can move money across banks. They also know whether we pay our mortgage or we don't, because they have found it interesting to know this. So they have managed to agree. And now things are more or less smooth. I mean, no one notices any disruption with their money. There are no interoperability issues with money moving from bank to bank. Lucky us. We want to book planes from any airline in the world. Well, there was this Amadeus system back in the day. All these things have been industries agreeing on their major business concepts, industry concepts. Why in healthcare haven't we managed to do such? Is this industry EMR vendors. My belief is that it's big EMR vendors that have developed very complex solutions over the years. We shouldn't forget that these solutions are 30 to 40 years, most all of them, at least the core, which they have been patching, and maybe changing them, it takes so much effort to them that they have decided to sponsor something, which is this messaging. Okay, we acknowledge that they will need to communicate. Well, let's think about some messaging because I'm not changing my thing, because changing my thing is making it new and it's huge investment. But this is not what we should promote from the public sector. Now, from the public sector, I say, now I want that everyone who is working with us will have to abide to a common language to represent this knowledge of medicine in a common way. And industry may be against this, but then, well, fair enough. But I put my tenders, and in the tenders, which is at the end my purchasing power, I say, yeah, but I want this. And if you don't like it, then don't bid for it. And then you start to see how the ecosystem reshapes around you. So at the end, the ones who tell you it's not possible to drive innovation from the public sector, well, it is. You use your purchasing power to tell people what you want, and then if they want, well, the ecosystem will reshape around you. And this is happening. I mean, no one was talking about openEHR in Catalonia or in Spain, and now all of them know what it is. And most of them, and I'm talking about big fish, Accentures, IBMs, entity datas, Dedalus, all these people have trained people in openEHR because they know tenders will go in this direction. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really good way of putting it. And I think the EHRs is one problem, which is like these are legacy EHRs and they don't really want to change and they want to just, do with whatever they can. But also, do you think there is a role, again, you're the digital health strategist, right? So you look at it from the digital health angle, like just the digital side of things. But if doctors and practitioners are set in their ways and they are the ones who are asking for very specific features, and that in itself is broken, and it's just the EHRs are, let's say, a symptom of this broken way of just doing things over and over again. How can you, and you're in the public service, right? Like, so it's a very unique position where you have power over them. But my point here is like, maybe it's not just a digital problem, right? Like, how do you go back and change or break their workflows?
Yeah, that's also a very good point. I mean, well, everything we do, we go after our clinicians. So everything we do follows. In Catalonia, we have a health plan, which is the strategic plan from our regional Ministry of Health, and our digital health strategy is linked to the health plan, which is the health strategy. So at the end, what we aim or what we try is to support the health strategy with money, with sorry, we try to support the health strategy with the systematic implementation of health information technologies, and that's our main objective. So we follow the health objectives as defined by our Department of Health. Then, as you very well say, I truly believe that the way that we have to do things is broken, and that we from digital, we haven't been smart enough on how to play this. And I think of this as a model which is a 4-layer model, and this is coming from one of my colleagues that he's brilliant, and he came to this conclusion, which I think is very relevant. So most of the times when we rethink healthcare, we think on the application layer. So we have these applications, and we have this technology supporting these applications, and we rethink our health, our model of health information technologies, coming from these requests from the clinicians that also limit themselves by the current applications that they have, and the world of possibilities stays in there. So we rethink the way we deliver healthcare at the application layer. And this is probably not right. I mean, what we should be thinking is, which is the care pathway, which is the use case that we want to solve. And then this is the initial thing. So drawing this. Then emerging from this use case or this care pathway, you will have a set of stakeholders that are part of this use case. And it's people that is participating at different points of this use case. And these people will have information needs that they need to deliver best care as possible. And then when we have this identified, then we can go into the application layer and develop this, and then technology will be there to support this. So it's care pathway, information needs, applications, and technology. And I believe that this is the right order. And most of the times we are not doing the things like this. And we are limiting ourselves by the world of possibilities of the current applications that we have can do. So we are changing this, and we are proposing to do this in a different way. And I will put you an example, which for me it's very explanatory. So we have now in Catalonia something that we name the Integrated Care Agency, which is health and social care willing to work together, because we have these frail patients, old patients that have needs both at the social level, at the healthcare level, and we normally interact on the same patient at patient home, and we need to enhance coordination with this. So how do we improve this care coordination? So these guys from the Integrated Care Agency, they say, listen, we want to share information, and we want to share information because it will be very important for our patients. And I tell them, yeah, but what for? Because sharing for the sake of sharing information, so rethinking the system just at the information layer, only brings the good willingness of healthcare professionals or social care professionals to be going to check this information. And the value in here, it's tending to zero. I tell them, the value is nothing. We can do this, but the value is nothing. And they don't understand. And I tell them, look at this in this way. We have a patient that is an old one who has had a hip fracture. And then he or she undergoes a surgery. And then once he or she is out of the surgery theater, then this is a tipping point. It's a key decision. And it's whether we send this patient to a convalescence unit or whether we can send this patient home with an early discharge program. And in this early discharge program, add a physiotherapist at home, nurse at home, the medical doctor at home, to do the recovery. We know that at home, this patient will recover in 6 weeks. And the success, it's way higher for full recovery versus 9 weeks in a convalescence unit, success of recovery less, cognitive decline because old person in a convalescence unit all night, people coming in, coming out of your social environment, is worse. So the person that is at the exit of the surgery theater, which is a case manager, which can be a social worker or a nurse or both, deciding whether this patient goes into convalescence unit or home, this person is the one that needs to have the social determinants of health,
right,
and all the information to make this decision. So it's the care pathway, and there it's where you get the most value. Then information, then applications, then technology.
It's an excellent way to put it, right? Because then you need to be able to innovate on these applications almost as fast as you need to innovate on care pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, and again, there is probably no proprietary system that's able to do this in this speed. And if you can do that, then you will have all the information that this person needs at that point in time.
That's what I'm struggling with. That's what I'm struggling with, which is on how to. We said let's separate data from applications. Well, let's see how we are able to separate care pathways or business logic from applications. I mean, in other industries, they use BPM, they use BPMN, Well, healthcare is a bit trickier. We have the clinical guidelines. We have care processes themselves. We have industrial processes that are, I don't know, you need a lab result, so we refer you to the lab. You need some medication to be prepared. So, I mean, this is tricky on how to make, to develop a platform that includes all these different building blocks that allow you, I would say, full fine-tuning capabilities, the ones that you mentioned that are continuous, and that truly enable you to be fully independent of the vendor who has provided the solution. And I think this is key, and this is what we are struggling with when trying to define the requirements, both at a functional level, we know them, but at a technical level, to do such an abstraction in order to purchase these building pieces of the future open platform, it's very tricky, and we're in the process of doing this. And well, you very well know that this is something which is not really all of these building blocks working together in the market. I wouldn't say that they are unavailable. Maybe in proprietary systems they have something, but in the idea of the open platform, I believe that this is non-existing yet.
It's a lot of work to do, and
A lot of work to do.
best of luck on your journey in the Catalonian system.
Thank you.
This is Jordi from the Catalan Health System.
Thank you.
All right.